Knife round as well. We will be doing the knife to determine the sides. Sides on cash isn't really too important. Notoriously, at the moment, the meta really being T-sided. Usually looking for a 6-9.5 in favor of the Ts. Well, I mean, if the CTs went pistol and they went out, you can obviously see reverse then 9-6. So.
Yeah, that reversal does tend to happen a fair bit though, so I am excited to see whether that will be the case and kind of what pistol round strategy we will see. I kind of do look towards CeX in that regard, and we've seen some pretty creative stuff in terms of what they can bring on a T side. CT side, not so much. From kind of what I've been able to look at, it's been fairly standard. They don't do anything too kind of out there, but we get on knife round result. Endpoint, they get to make the call.
To talk about cash as well, this is Endpoint's map pick. CeX opted to choose overpass. And the thing about cash, we saw with Endpoint, last week they were picking overpass. CeX, they're great on overpass, so Endpoint don't really want to be picking that this week. Another thing as well, when Endpoint was first established, they always picked was cash. When you saw them in their first online matches as well versus eSaba, constantly picking cash. And the reason being is, when you're a new team, don't have too many strats, you can pug out cash. It's a lot easier to do freehand. And as well, we've seen Velox. He has been removed from this lineup with some pretty funny stuff on Twitter being shown. And instead we've got Aaron, potentially the best UK player, just coming off of a ESL Premiership win only last week. So form, he's definitely in form. He's going to be fragging tonight.
You're hyping him up, so
he's sick.
You really you believe in him as a guy, so that's certainly going to be a bit of an interesting prospect in himself. But either way, Snods, it is time. We are going into what will be our first map of the night. It is going to be cash, as we've mentioned, CeX on the CT side and Endpoint over on the T side.
So Endpoint going for that slow T default, not really going to be working together just yet. Probably going to be expecting a mid push or a boost into mid and try to take late mid control. 5 sets of armor as well from the CT, so we're not going to be seeing a kit. So these guys, they don't want to be playing the retake. They're going to be playing quite aggressive once they have some information.
Yeah, so overall fairly standard stuff, just waiting for that initial pick that will give them whatever so sought after information as Thomas. Just going to be able to shoulder peek that angle. Nothing will present itself though. Endpoint just not really willing to create a gift package for CeX just yet.
So as I mentioned before, the late boost coming to mid, just trying to see if the CTs will get aggressive anywhere, trying to catch out any aggression, and then going for the mid boost late into the round. They're probably going to go opt for an A split, have one player go towards Squeaky. Once the players, however, have the attention of the players on A site, that player will jump out Squeaky. Maybe no, maybe come out of A main, so we shall see.
Certainly presenting a lot of options, but again, it's time to kick it back into high gear. They are making the move. Highway is going to be the point of aggression. Brody will at least get himself some information to work with, but a swift one-tap on towards Max will start things off, but it's going to be the response from the T side too. Quick back-to-back frags with those Glocks. Ezio trying to really seal the deal from that Highway spot, but eventually it will fall apart for the CT side. They've got themselves the plant over on the T side point of view. There's going to be something to try and sneak himself up through Highway with that USB. Eventually claws back the headshot, so gives them an angle of attack, but this Vector, it's one that can swiftly be shut on down, as it is going to be Emmy over towards Quad now, just trying to shoulder peek this one out. Look, gets himself the information, another one tap straight backwards and forth, but Rezu and Smuya, again, Rezu just another one, very, very quick, but CeX, out of nowhere, pull it back with one taps.
So as I said before, Endpoint, on their T side, on their pistol, this is what I said prior, go Squeaky instead of A main. You see the reason why. Typical CT setup on CEX's side, and on the CT side, Cash is to play the player, not Highway, sorry, the player Car. The reason being, he can spot A main and he can't see Squeaky, so he's only going to be shooting at 1 point. Problem is, when you have 2 players coming out of A main, they're facing Car, and Brody C takes one of those players, and those early frags when you don't have the kit is so important. If those 2 players came from Squeaky, they wouldn't have died from A main. Sorry, wouldn't have died from Car. They would have gone to the A bomb site, and the retake would have been 5 versus 5.
Yeah, certainly leaves a lot left to be desired, as now we have the result off the back of that. It is going to be that round advantage for CeX, and most importantly, going to be that economical factor that comes into play now, as those SMGs more than happy to be brought onto the field. And for Endpoint, this is by all means not a level playing field at that. They've got themselves on these pistols. There is no Kevlar in their back pocket, so now it comes down to, can they find those headshots? That is what they're looking for, is Emmy, or at least find the tag. But it's going to be Smuya. What is it with the one-taps in this game? The perfect way for CeX to start.
Importantly here as well, staying to the P2000, he will be buying the AWP next round, actually showing his hand there. So Endpoint, they're going to be expecting the AWP in mid next round. Actually, Smuya could get aggressive towards either of the bomb sites, but notoriously he is the mid player, holds down mid perfectly from that white box position, doesn't really opt to change it up too much. Ezio here as well, boost, trying to spot our player, falling back from Highway, so these players have no armor, so not really too much they can get down here, and actually Cinder there gets boosted into vent and sprays down 3. Clean round from CeX here. No players dying. Going to be stacking up the cash. Important as well, Brody C holding onto the Molotov, so he wouldn't have to reinvest into the $600. Now, the CT side, will they buy the AWP? That's the question. Smuya, he did save for it, so we'll have it. Another thing as well to think about is where will we see the aggression from Smuya? Will he decide to opt for mid, hold down mid, keep control of mid, or will he go for an A or B pick?
Well, he's not necessarily got a really solid spawn, so mid is, to be honest, kind of the go-to point for him. So he's going to go for that almost effective dry peek, no utility to be thrown, and nothing really is going to come his direction. We could see something towards boost, but in the same regard, seems like the T-side have a bit of an interesting concept in how they want to play this one when it comes down to a flat-out default.
They do have no AWP, so actually this default not really going to be working too well for them. Without the AWP, it's hard to get those early picks, and this could play in the favor of CEX if any of these players peek in towards Smear late into the round. And you see now he's leaving connector. Here's that arrow in his NA main, and now he's going to be posted up on Car. If the early picks come towards CEX, they should be looking to take this first gun round.
Yeah, this first gun round would be pretty much the cherry on top for them. As a bit of aggression is going to come in. Tommy going to try and make it work. Unfortunately, Tommy not quite going to be able to do the job required of him. Maybe will eventually fall to his grave, earmarked with that ever so wonderful name of Thomas. And you look towards that bomb. The push, it has come in, so there is someone there to listen out over towards mid. But even then, this is a little concerning for me.
But the thing is, Cinder hears the boost, he hears everything. And now Smooth is going to rotate. You see now, it's going to come towards white box. Cinder's given the information, he says they're coming boost, and they will fall into Smooth's crosshair. They start to go for B, but Ezio catches out Cinder. This is the problem now. If they go towards B, it's only a weak hold, only Rezi here to hold the line of the UMP. Smooth needs to find these picks.
Got a lot of work for him to do, but so much really to try and pull off here as the peak will come in. It's all just going to continue to really crush apart. Yes, there's an AWP in play, but
This is a save.
It's not even a saving grace, and this was the concerning point for me. As much as they had a setup for information over towards mid, it only alluded to the fact they had information, and sometimes turning information into a play is just so damn difficult.
But there's no reason to push A main as well. The thing is, okay, so when the Ts have mid control, that's when you opt to take map control back. So if Endpoint have control of mid, they have players on highway, that's when you want to flash into A main and retake the map control. Instead, Thomas just flashes in. The thing is, he hasn't even got a UMP. Brody Seal's the one with the UMP, so throws away his M4. Aaron playing counter flash there, expects the push, takes down Thomas in A main. That gives up the A bomb site, and even though they didn't opt to go for A, it still weakens the defense regardless. So Brody C will get one on top of MyMax, but MyMax will importantly take away the AWP. Can Brody C save it?
It's going to be pretty difficult, especially with the push beginning to roll on, and they are hot on his heels. The shot will go off, giving away the fact he is there. The jump to come in, and very smart with the jump, because it means that shot is just so difficult to hit.
And now the AWP will be to Luzza, and Luzza is the primary AWP on Endpoint currently. Not really too good. I mean, if CEX had held that, Smear could have gone for some aggression towards, you know, A, B, whatnot. We saw it earlier in the round, trying to go for aggression towards mid, and he had the early rotate as well towards Car. But unfortunately for him, those T players did not walk into him, so did not find those early picks, and the round will go in Endpoint's favor.
That's really kind of almost a tragic storyline there. We talked about that round being the potential kind of cherry on top for CEX, and I'm just looking at this right now and asking, yeah, where's the USP at? Snods, you've been great at kind of elaborating on what is going on so far. What is the narrative with the USP?
Did he drop the AWP to Smear? That's the question.
There's always potential.
Let me take a look here, actually. So Rezu's, yeah, so he did. I think Rezu did drop the AWP to Smear. I mean, you've got to be doing God's work if you're going to have someone going a USP. I mean, flashbacks to Kenny S and Maniac as well, going for that P250 and dropping the AWP to Kenny S. Can Smear have the same impact as, you know, previously one of the best AWPers in the world? I mean, you would think so. Obviously, coming off of hot form from Epic Land, having incredible games there. But now he's shot the AWP and he's given the information. He should rotate towards somewhere else. I mean, if he stays towards A, Endpoint could just group, and you can see now Ezio leaving, and these players are leaving. They're going to go for mid control. They could split B here.
Yeah, this B split could pretty much annihilate this push before it even gets going. Of course, you look towards CX, and I do like Cinder's spot. It gives him some sort of level to have this holding power, but it's a pattern that can easily be shut on down with just one quick flash and then a trade.
As I mentioned before, Smooth shooting that off, and they want to stay far away from this. Cinder will go down to Imi. Let's give the first pick in favor of Endpoint. Actually, Thomas flashing for destroying. Great initiative there, but we'll get traded up from Ezio. Just a 4 versus 3, and now CX, they need to find the refrags. They need to make this a 3 versus 3, but Ezio will take down Brody C, and Rezu's going for a god play. It was 5-7. Can he pick up another frag and try and even out these numbers? 2 versus 3, Smooth the AWP. They have no kit. And if the bomb goes down early, it's not looking too good for them.
Yeah, there's just really not much they can do here. I wouldn't even be surprised if they just tried to back off at this point and look for those exit picks. They don't have any sort of vector of attack. We can see, of course, that there's already some sort of level of aggression coming in, as Laz are more than happy just to push up through B main. Going to be taking that slow pick. His barrel has been spotted out by Smooth, though, so this gives him that opportunity just to hold that angle and be ever so precarious, because if he finds that arm, and even just a slight tap of the W, that could give away a pick, and he knows. He's so patient.
Oh
but
my
he
God,
misses
he
the
stood
shot. Smoothie, you needed to hit that. That is just embarrassing. There's no way he refaces this. There's absolutely no reason to reface this, let alone the fact he actually goes away with it.
Okay, so unfortunately for them, no, that's not really Smooth's fault there. I mean, Luzza did stand up as he shot.
Yeah, but I don't understand why Luzza refaces either.
He had the flash. He flashed himself. So
yeah, but I mean, he could have got away from the situation and got the net game.
You have to think about the difference, right? Okay, Luzza dies.
Let's break this down.
Luzza dies, and the AWP, you know, falls to another player on his team. I mean, if they can get the AWP out of Smooth's hand, I mean, obviously Rezi's there as well, but they know where the other player is as he was boosted. To break down that prior round. So Smooth shooting his AWP early in A, and as I mentioned before, Endpoint opt to go towards B. Once you've seen the star player shoot his gun, you know, on the A bomb, so of course you're not going to go there. And Imi there gets the first entry onto Cinder. at B main, and the B bomb site is Endpoints, and Smooya and Rezu couldn't really do too much than 2 versus 3 without kits. So, fortunate scenes there. 2 now. Actually, the force play coming from CEX. 5 sevens on 3 players, and the AWP on Smooya, and the rifle on Cinder.
Looking to see what can be delivered. Of course, it is some early A presence coming in from Aaron. Rezu going to be there to just try and kind of feel around a bit, put out some overall prodding effect with this pistol. Nothing really going to come his direction just yet until eventually the bulk of Endpoint's firepower begins to really come to a head. There is no flash, which I don't even think I need to get into because it really kind of says exactly what it does on the tin. Thomas will spam on the way through the smoke, trying to make the best of things and finds a frag for his troubles, but that is about it. The flashes, they are starting to come on in, and the peak will be connected. Smooya there to do the damage with the AWP.
This isn't the gun you want in a retake, especially when the players are low, but gets him through the smoke, actually, the 1 versus 2. He has the bomb at 50 seconds and a kit, so he can play retake if he decides to. Thing is, though, he needs to understand where these other players are. He's expecting the player and Connect to come flank him, but unfortunately for him, it's going to be Amy, and Ezio, and they're going to be both coming towards A main, and unfortunately, no one will be coming flank, so he's holding Connect here. Not really going to reap any rewards, but that flash and this peek from Ezio, he will win the duel. I mean, if Smooya took him down, that was the 1 versus 1, and that's very winnable for Smooya, but Ezio opting to take matters into his own hands, and the flash comes out, Car peeks and gets the headshot onto Smooya.
The biggest highlight for me right now when it comes up to kind of summing down Endpoint's play, they seem to be confident in taking risks. They have no problems with just going for something.
I wouldn't say that, actually. I would say it's more CEX taking stupid risks.
Yeah, but I think with
Endpoint
CEX
playing passive and it working to their favor, because when you think about it, that flash into A, no flash into A main. 2 players peek, 2 players die, 3 versus 5, and somehow it's a 1 versus 2. Shouldn't be that situation. I mean, imagine they got 1-for-1 trade there instead. Could have been such a different round. Unfortunately for them, they did force it. Are they forcing again? No, they weren't. They're not. They will have the buy in the next round. So 5 sevens and a deagle on Smooya. No armor, of course. He will be opting for that AWP next round. Might even go AWP, no armor. Not too sure on his money at the moment. But Rezu here with this push into A main. Could catch the player off guard. He gets the headshot to Mighty Max. 1-man lead already for CEX.
It's just the perfect way to start things off, and that post angle does have to be checked, and it just allows Cinder to do so much work here. Just 2 cracks apiece, eventually going to be dropped on dead by Aaron, but so much damage to be inflicted off the back of practically an investment of nil.
But no guns being picked up for CEX. So still on the 5-7. Deagle for Smooya, but no armor. So if Smooya's in the 1 versus 1 here, won't be too good. And then Molly comes up forklift, but I don't think Aaron will be able to spot him. Really see, playing smart here. Doesn't want to play too aggressive and wide face into something he doesn't want to, doesn't need to. Instead, just going to go and peek slowly. Maybe just try and jiggle peek information. That's what's the most important here, information for the CT side. Oh god, that's a flip from Aaron. Takes down Brody C. Unfortunate for Brody C, they're peeking out. Will get taken down from Aaron. That flick and another headshot there onto Smooya. Trying to battle in with that deagle, and he will win that. And there are 2 important frags, and CEX, they've gifted them this round.
Yeah, perhaps risk was the wrong word of description to use to highlight this team. Perhaps surgical is the more go-to phrasing, as Aaron really summing it up with that round. 4 frags. Pretty swift one-taps.
I said he was good.
You said he was good, and you really put a lot of pressure on his shoulders right from the get-go.
Endpoint like to play slow, and right now it's working in their favor. CEX, they're playing so aggressive, they're just pulling the trigger so early, they keep going for these early, aggression towards A main or whatnot. They pushed A main every single round, I believe. Rezu that round, and then Thomas the round before, and then the double push as well with no flash. So every round they're playing aggressive towards A main. You see what happens. Endpoint expected they have 1 player playing counter flash just in case that push does come, but actually Rezu catching off that player that was going towards boost, I believe it was a Max, and then Cinder have 2 important 5-7 frags, but they do lose the round as they overface. On to the next buy round now. AWP on Smooya, AWP on Lazza. Where is Lazza going to go for that pick? Actually, it looks like he will be actually going to boost up Aaron instead. Quite strange, because you want the AWP going for the picks, but then again, we've got aim like Aaron. I don't blame them.
Yeah, why not? At the end of the day, just let him try and do the work that he's been able to prove he can deliver in the past, as it is looking like he's just playing relatively slow at this point. Doesn't quite want to bite the billet too early, and that kind of leads back to the point about being relatively slow about the decision-making process for this T side. Is Amy just going to wait?
Once again,
gets handed it, doesn't he?
The aggression comes up for the CT side. Actually, how has Brody C not got that kill onto Aaron? That should be a 4 versus 4 right now, but instead, Brody C whiffs that spray, and Aaron will take him down with that headshot. Rezu going to push for information, gets the team flash, and this is so important. The bomb is being made, but didn't quite spot it yet. Smooya there whiffing that shot to Aaron, and Aaron will face him, will take him down as Smooya goes for that reface, and that's going to be 2 versus 4, and Smooya whiffing some easy shots there. It's not looking too good for CEX. I mean, CEX without Smooya playing well isn't really the best team, but actually Rezu, that does catch Aaron. It will be the 2 versus 3. Only 1-man difference now. The Problem is, though, they don't have any utility. And if they can get these early picks like that, Ezio going down early, not deciding to hide behind forklift, and now with the 2 versus 2, they have kits, they can play the game as the bomb does go down.
Giving them so much room to maneuver as Rezu flies on in, tries to make the best of the situation, finds the opening frag, and Max there to finish off the last 2 to bring it back to a full circle round for Endpoint. But again, it feels like too many risks were taken on both sides of the board that time around, because Rezu going aggressive, he's trying to make a play, which hugely, credit to him for actually finding those frags. But in the same regard, some of the angles were being faced from that CT side.
In that after plant especially, they weren't covering. Luzza gets shot from the back. I mean, the other player there that was on him on site, and the other T player there should have really been holding his angle, but they do win the round. The 1v1 does go in favor of Endpoint, but you've got to be thinking, what if Brody C did take down Aaron in mid there? What if Aaron didn't get that kill onto Smoothie or White Box as well? I mean, the round could have been so different. Fortunately for them, it will be a 3-round lead, and the Deagle pistols by coming out for CEX, and Ezio there with the SMG trying to rack up some cash. They could use them for information as well. Just opt to throw him into a site and see if there's a stack anywhere. Cinder though underneath boost. Will he catch Aaron off guard?
He could actually have a relatively good chance of doing that, and yes, he gets it nice and easily. A quick shot right to the cranium, and Aaron left kind of dazed and confused, just trying to work out what exactly went wrong. But it comes back to the point, something that you mentioned in the past, and something we even often overlook when it comes down to Counter-Strike. Yes, it's a frag, but there's no weaponry to be garnered. We
have Rezu there pushed up B. I mean, Cinder here, pretty useless to invent right now as the players aren't admit. He needs to get fast into A. He needs to rotate. They need as many players as possible on this A bomb site as the the execute does come in.
This is exactly what they need to try and open up the site. They want to create space up against CeX, not allow these pistols to play up close and personal. But are they actually going to really pull this one off in a nice successful manner? As they just give him Brody the room, he will find the opening pick. But it is going to be Ezio to try and seal the deal with this SMG. He will find himself too, but a lot of damage to be dished out by these pistols, and this kind of does give them the vector of attack they were originally setting out to achieve. Slaughter crosses over towards the site with that bomb to try and kind of get that plant down. The cross will eventually try to be made by Cinder as well, so gets himself.
And he shot the AWP too, and they can, this is the problem now. Imi knows he has an AWP, doesn't have to face, no kit as well on Rezu, so if he doesn't get these early picks, it'll be so hard for the failed smoke. Laza with that crisp headshot will take down Rezu. So, early pick coming out for CEX is the 4 versus 5, and what Endpoint decide to do, instead of playing that default where they're playing the 1v1s, they opt to play as a team and they play the trade frags. They do run into the stack from CEX. I mean, you could have played it a little bit better, have Ezio with that SMG, just play for information, go out first. If he says 3A, 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 just, you can fall back and go towards B instead. But instead, Endpoint, they group together, they get the trades, and they win the round. Yeah, they get the job done, and now I'm kind of looking towards Endpoint again and seeing how are they going to adapt and Smoothie. And that's a shot.
Not really a shot, but it's him actually going for a curveball, which is what Smoothie does best, as Rezu goes for a bit of aggression of his own, plays to the fact that Imi trying to do a bit of a similar sort of style, shuts him down, and we're now looking at what feels like the first time in quite a little while, CeX, not only a 1-man advantage, but 2.
It's taken 9 rounds for Smooth's AWP to have an impact, and the problem is if you're CEX, you do rely on the AWP so heavily. Such a nice shot there as well, plucking Lazar out of the sky. And that's going to be the first, and actually the first 2 picks, going in CX's favor. 1 minute on the clock, we will see the mid take coming out from Endpoint, trying to find some frags with Molotov, but fortunate scenes here. Thomas will get 2 actually. The Ezio, does hit down Brody C towards Highway. But 4 players staying alive now. This is important. CX, they need to win this round.
I'm looking at this right now, and on paper, this is basic Counter-Strike. The way I look at this is this a simple equation of if Smoothie hits a shot and the rest of his team are there to support them, CX win a round?
Basically, yeah.
So now I look at this with that said and go, okay, what happens if Smoothie just misses a shot in this round? What happens if
we saw what happened when Smoothie missed the shot when he was Highway, and obviously Aaron got the trade and Brody C whiffing that so spray as well.
Is this a 1-round wonder for CX?
I mean, potentially, but CX, they need to win this round, and Smooth's in a different spot now. Different spot, different round. That's what you need to do when you're being the aggressive AWP. You can't be predictable. He was in mid every single round, and Endpoint, they just dodged him, and the picks were coming towards, Imi getting the pick onto Cinder, but now he shot the AWP, and now Lazar as well with his AWP. He can opt to go wherever he wants, and he knows why are you facing into that? This is the problem. I mean, you've just shot the AWP. Yeah, Imi there still playing close, and will get fragged. And it's going to be 2 early frags for CEX. Unfortunate scenes for Endpoint.
Yeah, certainly leaving a lot to be desired as Brody can mop up Max, and it's going to be the crossfire that pretty much just rips them apart.
Strange.
An easy meal for CEX to claim, and it's almost a bit of an odd topic in itself to claim that one as easy, because on paper, again, it shouldn't really been that simple, but it seems to be with CEX. Once they get themselves a foothold in a round,
they're good at winning when they have the numbers advantage. The problem is when it's the 4 versus 5, they tend to lose it. I mean, that round there, Smoothie going for the repeat, the dangerous repeat. There should be someone watching that with their crosser on him, but instead he will catch that player that just peeks into Sunroom, and he will take him down. And now we're going to be seeing a 2-2-1 setup, so weak towards B, and Endpoint. They're going to be playing 5 players here, but they have no armor, so it will be an easy mop-up for Cinder here if they do opt to go towards Checkers.
Yeah, Checkers, certainly the big topic to talk, discuss, or Rezu is going to be there to drop down a Molotov, but he's potentially going to be caught completely off guard as he's been just such a difficult angle, but they walk dead set into him, drops them all dead with a quick spray.
Just hide, don't face and throw away that gun. He doesn't want to throw away that $4,000 investment. That's why he's hiding. If he peeks out, I mean, he could go for the frag and try and get those numbers, but you don't want numbers. You just want to keep your economical game strong. And CeX, they do win 2 rounds in a row, 3 I believe. So their economy looking good. They need one or two more rounds, then they'll be happy with this half. As I mentioned prior, this is usually a T-sided map.
Yeah, I guess certainly I'm going to be looking to see whether they can kind of keep on notching up those numbers. But right now my eyes are actually going to be back on towards the C side of Endpoint, because you've really kind of stumped them up as this adaptive team.
Well, I wouldn't say adaptive. I mean, the thing is they can play fast and they can play slow. That's the thing. I spoke about last week that Endpoint, you know, their IGL is a bit up in the air and who's calling for this team. Some people say Imi, some people say Max, and when it is Max calling, he opts to play fast. He likes that aggressive style, and then Imi, we know he likes to play slow. And I mean, if you're Endpoint right now, what's been working for you is these slow T defaults, having CeX push for aggression. I mean, you don't need to push if there's like no need to push. So let me break that down.
If you want to go into this.
Yeah, if Endpoint don't have map presence, they don't have mid control, they don't have control of B main or something like that, you don't need to get the aggression to the other side of the map. But CeX, they've been handing them the frags and handing them the map pressure and the map control. And Endpoint, they've been capitalizing off of it. Smooth here trying to get aggressive into me, and this is so much information as well. Seeing no one here actually will have a lot to tell. So the players in mid as well, they will probably hear these players that are running towards B main, and here comes the execute.
Yeah, certainly painted the target on the back of that B site, which means all down to one man. It's going to be on Rezu to really be able to do the serious amount of impact here, as Thomas will find the one thing to find a quick second. He finds himself so much impact in terms of the attacking damage, but eventually the trades will be connected, and that leaves the B site basically, well, ripe for the picking. There is nothing CeX can do to deny this plant. Imi should just be able to walk on up, plant it wherever he so chooses, which should be the B main kind of open style, and now we're looking at CeX in... Well,
it's fine. It's a one-man lead. You have kits, you have Molotovs. They can molly off default, molly off backside, and they can play the trades if they play it smart. But the problem is, Smu's got an open vent. Not really the best place you want to use that. So this retake might be a bit slow, but I think Thomas may have spotted Lazar there.
Yeah, they almost certainly have the information, but Thomas will hand the flick on towards Imi, so does try and utilize that advantage and knock it down even further. Now all down to just one man, and he can't quite do the damage over towards main, just stuck in checkers. And, well, CeX, you say they have the man advantage, they make it work. It felt a little shaky from the get-go, but towards the latter portion, they made it work. Team play coming up trumps.
They had the Molotov, as I mentioned before, so even if Lazar did get one of those frags there, Smee would have traded him. Molly onto backside or default, wherever you heard the player being, and then you win the round that way. So fine for Endpoint to have the B-bomb site. Obviously CeX, they're fine with playing the retake game, and they have the kits and the utility to back it up. So 6-6, no AWP on the Endpoint side. So we may see a smoke execute or maybe a fast A execute with Molotovs and flashes and utility, but actually fast peek from Smooth. This is going to be a lot of information. Actually, one of these players might walk into him.
They're going to be going for the double molly over towards door, which pretty much stops this one dead. They can't even get it going as he's still unable to find a headshot on towards Smooya, but they can't really play off of this. Eventually they will try and squeeze their way out, but this in theory should just be easy for the CT side to shut them down. They can't be allowing this one, and they're doing exactly what they need to do. Frags all across the board, and it's just down to Max. He's on an island. He's in a 1v3. Yes, he has some utility in his back pocket, but this time there is no Molotov and team play to bail him out. It comes down to sheer aim and aggression as he connects the first headshot on towards Cinder, still looking for the next two, but the position towards Forklift is perfect, and Brody gets to shut it down before it even gets going.
You have 3 people in Squeaky. You do not smoke Heaven, yet you have nobody watching Heaven. And Cinder there sprays down one, gets a lot of damage onto that second player as well. I believe it was Max as well. He got the player to low HP, and that's going to be the round for CeX. And they've got 7 rounds on their CT side. If they win the T-pistol, this is going to be looking very good for them on Endpoint's map pick. Once again as well, half by coming out, they're probably just going to save now and then 4 by in the last round, so not going to be seeing too much coming out of them. Wonder if they decide to change what they're doing so far. Maybe go for a slower default and allow CeX to walk into them, as that's what's been working for them.
Yeah, it does leave a lot of questions. Certainly looks like mid may be a bit of a target, and right now this is almost kind of giving me that throwback to the start of this match where we saw them do a very similar sort of thing when they split up through highway and then towards that A side. So that's kind of what I'm trying to see. Smooya is there to go for the peak now. If he finds this initial pick and then falls back and is smart about it, he could do a lot of work. But he doesn't want to be caught off guard, and he doesn't want to always be a one-trick wonder, because one frag at this point doesn't really feel like it's going to be too beneficial. The smoke is going to come out, denies him that pick, and well, now Thomas looking like he's going to get caught off guard by this Tech 9. The flash is going to be perfect. Brody up towards quad here, now going to try and do the work and make up what his teammates simply couldn't do, but he's being pushed in from a Tech 9 as well, and this could actually pay off huge. For Endpoint, they have themselves an opportunity, but Smooya, he hits the shot, he shuts things down, and now we're back to a situation where it's going to be a tough one. But They have themselves the bomb plant. Imi, he's got the deagle in his back pocket. He's looking for a pretty exciting shot. Can he connect it? The answer is going to be yes. He catches off Smooya. Cinder going to be coming in over towards Forklift, tries to make the best of things, and now it's all down to Max. He's over towards Quad. They do have that Molotov. It's going to burn him away bit by bit,
no,
but they don't quite know the position. They don't know where he's going to be coming from. He has the flank. He goes for the individual. He gets the first frag. Now looking for just one more. Can he achieve this? And Cinder going to shut it down, but 16 HP. 16.
That was so well played as well. The molly comes out. He expects the Molotov. Shifts, walks out of line of sight. They don't expect him there. Catches that player off guard, but Cinder will win the 1 versus 1. It's going to be 8 rounds for CEX. Why is Thomas highway when he can't have backup from Smooya, who's been smoked off? That's the problem. He's gone to try and retake mid after that smoke came out connected, but he's too late. He gets flashed, gets taken down, and makes it 1 man less on that defense towards A. And now it's the 2-round lead for CX. If they pick up this round in the T-pistol, this is looking so good for them.
For me, I look at that and go, it was the exact same worry I had for Smooya, but then transferred on towards Thomas. It was just a kind of a lot of questions, but now we are translating this into what will be our last round, and Rezu utilizes the elevator angle to get himself that early pick. We're already going to be trying to do the same over towards the ace lane, and he's going to make it work as well. Catches off Aaron. They try and force the refrag, but Endpoint, they're in no position to really make any demands at all at this point. Thomas going to get knocked down to 8 HP, so a smithering of what he started in, and I kind of look towards this T-Stone and go,
stay alive there.
Utility is perfect, but they just don't actually throw anything down. The smoke over towards MBK will actually just pretty much deny any sort of Molotov, and well, so far it is going to be a bit of an AWP battle. Picks on both sides of the board, but Lazar more than happy to come up trumps with that advantage as he claims the life of Thomas. The smoke derby manually placed on towards Cross. Nedito in position over towards MBK will pretty much pry this round back open for the taking as they have 55 seconds. The bomb is going to go down. It is a 2v2, but the quick aggression is coming in from the CT side. They're going to try and deny this one off of the aggression, but Lazar, with a perfect shot, brings it to a 1 versus 1. There was Rezu more than happy to respond, but he's still got to swing out with this M4. He's toggling the fuse. He's going to be sticking to him. The peak is going to be coming in. Lazar, he's swapped to an M4. The spray to come in.
Oh my goodness.
Perfect round, but the AWP shot pretty much single-handedly making that one possible.
It wasn't that one AWP shot. Lazar, they're getting aggression towards Forklift, takes down Smooya. Why is Smooya playing so aggressive when you have the numbers advantage? It's a 2 versus 4. Why are you playing so aggressive? Give away the frag, makes it the 3 versus 4, and then Ezio as well gets the kill, makes it 2 versus 2, and Lazar that incredible flick and wins the 1 versus 1.
I feel like if that flick wasn't found, then there would have been more maneuverability though, and that would have been potentially, again, it kind of leads us back to that what-if prospect, but it's a problem.
That 1 round could have won them the game,
yeah,
easily.
Sure. And either way, we go into what will be the 16th round.
So the kit and smoke coming out from Mighty Max, potentially be playing retake as well towards A. Actually, no, they're playing quite aggressive. This is quite strange. Usually when you play aggressive to the CT side, you play together, and that's why Imi goes down solo. Do they expect Aaron in A main?
They're going to peek dead
towards
him.
But he will go down as well. But the smoke kit, so there's a chance for them to win this retake. If they find the early frags, that's 1, that's 2. It's a 3 versus 3 out of the middle of nowhere, but Rezu there from Forklift takes him down, and Aaron there goes towards mid, takes down Smooth. It's the 2 versus 2. Kit on Mighty Max, they can retrieve it. Looking at this round, so the bomb is not down yet. They're trying to find out where both the CTs are before they opt to plant. And Rezu on Heaven, can he catch a player off guard?
It's all about trying to really utilize that position and the unknown factor. Going to give it away by going for the long-range jumps, and now going to be playing back towards Forklift, and a double peek potentially could be what haunts him at this point. Is the information almost certainly going to be gone, and they spot his shoulder. They try and make the best of things, but it's going to be the swing out of Cinder with that Glock to find himself a headshot for his troubles, wait for his teammate to be peeked, and then flies out again for the second re-peek. And that alone is just smart stuff from him, because he waits for that engagement to be taken, then peeks out, which means that there's almost... It's almost an impossibility for the 180 swivel to be taken because he's mid-gunfight already.
The thing is, why are you pushing solo? If you're Endpoint, I mean, maybe they saw the CX demo from previous weeks where, you know, CX might have opted to go towards B or mid, I'm not too sure, but Imi and Aaron playing solo, then individually, they're not playing together, and that means they can't trade and they can't push together, and like, you saw what happened, they both went down individually, opened up that A bomb site, but Mighty Max as well, and that fast rotate, gets 2 early frags onto the A bomb site, makes it a 3 versus 3, and he had the kit and the smoke, so that round was very winnable for Endpoint, but unfortunately, the T's play the bait and switch games perfectly, and they do take the round.
That certainly is the easiest way to sum things up, and what has been pretty easy to read into. But let's see if they can bring anything more complex into this round. As it is a pretty hefty firepower advantage, at least for CX, but we've seen things, well, go a little bit awry in the past. So not completely writing Endpoint off. Of course, they do have some Kevlar behind them in terms of Aaron, Ezio, and Max. Of course, helmets thrown into the mix somewhat as well, so it does leave that kind of aura of opportunity. And so this is going to be the charge to be led by this Mac-10, and, well, just the sheer timing makes things a little difficult. Lazar over towards CT will find himself that quick headshot, but Unfortunately, Snods, I don't know about you, but my hope rapidly fading in terms of what the CT side can deliver, especially when the T's are just getting this much room.
CeX won both pistols. It's so important in best of one situation. Obviously, this is 2 best of ones in a best of 2. You know, no one can take the win really, unless it is a clean 2-0. So, CeX 3 rounds ahead now, and it's going to be the full save on Endpoint, looking at 11-7. Endpoint, they've won 7 gun rounds, but they've only got 7 rounds to put behind it. There's no pistols. This could be 7-10 in their favor, but instead they're looking at the 3-round deficit. CeX already in double digits, and if they win this first gun round, this could be looking like a 16-10, a 16-9.
Off the back of a couple of mistakes, now they get the Demon that will follow them around. The Demon being the scoreline that could be, well, pretty much sat ever so daintily in their favor. But let's see if that can be a bit more of a motivating factor. That perhaps is a storyline itself to narrate towards. Smooya is going to be...
He's pushing solo, though.
Ever so close, and he is solo, but he could make a play here and shut this one down again as he finds the first initial peak. Now looking for a quick second. If he can find this one, it makes a lot more to be done in terms of keeping this nice and clean. Imi with the push, though, is fairly smart. It does some damage. Then it leads back to a point we discussed right from the get-go, and it's exactly the same in this round. Yes, it's a frag for Endpoint, but there's no firepower to be garnered. These are locked down to these USBs, which in fairness to Ezio, yes, he's going to tap on away, connects the frag on towards Rezu.
He just wants these frags so hard. Pushes solo. I mean, if he goes down there to Aaron, you've just given potentially the best UK player a Galil in one of those rounds. I mean, that's winnable. 4 versus 5, rifle on Aaron. Endpoint could have won that round, but instead, I think he got the team flash towards Highway, so it's fair play. Does take down both those players. Laza in connected and Aaron on Highway. So 11-7. AWP onto Smooya. Could be the Galil stayed on Rezu, and it's going to be Famas on Ezio and the AWP on Laza. Who will win the AWP duel? This could determine the round, and actually Laza playing towards connect. Hits the flick on the Cinder. Can he get any more, though?
He's got himself one. That is the easiest way to start things off, and going for a little bit more could potentially be a bit of more of a discerning factor, as it will be a 1-4 trade back and forth. Going to be looking up towards Vents, but misses
Gets
the shot.
Information, though. He's called that the one player vent, and usually when the player goes vent, it's going to be the B split. Will the CTs rotate in time?
Smooya at a peek that angle is very, very smart. Only manages to find the leg shot, but is going to be able to seal the deal off the back of the Tech 9 to sidearm. Going to come in useless. Thomas peeks up towards Heaven, takes down Aaron, and punishment.
No kit. This might be a
inflicted.
save.
That no kit, I think they're almost... Well, it has to be a save at this point. They have
How
no
late
point
Max
of
is as
entry
well.
on towards the site. Max, he could push round here and try and make a play
Well,
in
the thing
towards
is,
checkers.
the T's are playing on site, so this is what happens. The frag goes onto Thomas, both these players on site, so the time doesn't matter as these players are playing on the bomb. They haven't got any presence towards anywhere else. And Laza, if he finds his first pick, can he get the flick? Yes, he does. The flash comes out to Rezu. Smooya in the 1 versus 2. Gets that flick onto him. My Max jumps in and gets the headshot onto Smooya. First gun round on the CT side goes in favor of Endpoint, and they've won it. That's the problem of when you don't leave the site. That's what, you know, when you play at this high level, you do say, leave the site, have presence, have a player playing towards checkers, have the player be main in Sunroom, have presence, and that slows down the CT retake. But unfortunately for them, Endpoint have no opposition. Thomas gets killed by Mighty Max. Last 2 players on site. Who cares if they have no kit? There's no need for that extra 5 seconds to get onto the site because the players are playing on the site.
It comes down to pretty much one point in itself. That stack on towards the site, right? If they actually, yeah, if they actually change something up and play it off of what they could have done right from the get-go, and didn't just choose, you know what, let's just kind of pitch our tents. If they actually went out for a bit more of a venture, they could have got something work. And, you know, I agree on one regard. I think kits are a bit of a point. But at the end of the day, when you're in that sort of position, well, we even didn't think it was possible.
How did that flick not hit?
It felt like it was dead set on him, but maybe a little too far to the left.
I think he flicked to the right as Laza peeked out.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure. Could have been bad timing there. We went for the wall bang. Not too sure there. Or maybe Spooner straight up missing. We're not too sure, but... Anyway, it's going to be 2 Famases for the CT side, so if they lose this, they will be reset. And we could be looking at a 13-8, and if it gets to that point, Endpoint, they're not going to be looking too good. 4 rifles, and then the AWP on Smooya. Smooya playing for those picks. You're going to see him rotate from Highway. He's going to push up Highway, try and get the pick onto A, but Laza here from Quad, he's watching him, and will he win the duel?
We'll spot him out, gets the opportunity. The jiggle pick alone just gives it away and gives Laza pretty much the opportunity to play the patience card now. As Ezio peeks out over towards his close box angle, will eventually be traded back by Rezu, but it's not quite going to be enough. It still leaves him in a bit of a difficult predicament. But Brody over towards mid, again to claim the life of Max, and now let's open things back up. But Imi, he's looking to go huge. Will find himself at least 1 for his troubles, but again, it's the trading game that's going to be on point, and it's going to be that feature alone.
As well, he has to retake with an AWP. This is so difficult. Aaron as well, no utility in a Famas, doesn't even have an M4 to his name. The utility, the molly and the flashes on Laza, they need to flush out these players. They need to get this going fast. Otherwise, we could be looking at CeX resetting Endpoint.
They have themselves some positions to try and play with, but again, it comes back to that point as Aaron, he gets the easy peek. It's not even difficult for him. He just takes it in his stride. Basic, almost just practice at this point as he mops them up in I'm not even quite sure what is a
AWP
fair
wasn't
way to
even
describe
needed.
that.
The AWP wasn't even needed. The flash came out, obviously, blinding up Rezu there, and Brody C, wide-faced, exposed himself to Vent, and will take him down, and then Rezu stuck on site after being, once he comes out that flashbang, he's taken down by Aaron. Unfortunate scenes there for CeX. If they won that, they would have reset Endpoint, and they could have been looking at 13-8 instead, 11-9.
So you are, in effect, our UK historian right now, Snoz. That's how I'm looking at you right now. We're going to go with that. Well, that nickname's going to stick. What is with that open face, giving yourself up to Vent? Is there really any objective and any solid point of view to do that?
Well, the thing is, well, we'll talk about that round later, as the B tank does come out and Ezio gets one, does get traded, and actually, it's hard to retake this B bomb site, especially when you're a man down, and Lars with the AWP as well can be so difficult. They need to find these early picks. CeX, just don't overface and don't give away your frag.
We said that before, and they have done it. Let's see if they will at least make the right decision this time around. So far, so good. It is going to be a bit of jiggery to take place in terms of throwing around some firepower, making sure it is in the best possible places. But for now, it's going to be a bit of a slow burner. Aaron, looking to peek up from the elevated angle, does have himself some information to work with, but how far is that going to extend? Is Max not really going to be in the fight? They are backing off, and they realize that they don't have too much to work with. The only really kind of info they have is one guy's on the site, which isn't really too much to allow them to force the retake. They will find some damage in terms of these exit frags. But either way...
It's not just that. It's not just that. In their heads, they could be thinking, we can reset CeX now. They give them this round, CeX on 12, but if Endpoint win this following round, they're going to reset CeX once again, and two of those players as well. They die without picking up a rifle, so the money for CeX actually looking pretty good, considering they did half by there, so they didn't fully invest into that round, and they won it. And the bomb obviously went down, so extra cash there. So, about the previous round with the Vent, Aaron coming in on that late flank towards Vent. Brody C was holding Vent the whole time. When he didn't see the player, Vent, thought, oh, they're going to be playing double CT or maybe 1B main. Checks B main, no one there, goes for that face towards CT, but Aaron, that perfect timing towards Vent, takes down Brody C. So unfortunately for Brody C, I'm not too sure if he was expecting that. Aaron though catches him card, and that was the 9th round for Endpoint, but they got instantly reset by that B rush from CEX.
Well, now to translate that into what is our 22nd. Of course, we've read into a lot of these rounds, and a lot of them have been at times complex, but at times very, very simple, and almost just coming down to the question of, well, why go for this play? But now what we're looking towards is Lazar again. He's going aggressive. He is holding this angle. If he lands the shot, could pry open the round. And so far, so good. Catches off Cinder. It is going to be Brody to look for the refrag. And so far, so good. But again, Max, the peek on out. Gets easy pickings when it comes down to the quick second. Smoya will try and respond. Thomas on the elevated angle above red. Enables him to find the headshot on towards Aaron.
That's major. Molotov on Ezio does go towards default, but Thomas will leave the site to 57 HP, and there's no Molotov for quad now, and no Molotov for forklift, so now it's going to be Endpoint walking into the process. Actually, no, Ezio not using that Molotov, that's my bad. As I mentioned before, it's going to be Endpoint having to walk into these crosshairs of CEX.
It's going to be difficult times for them in terms of making this one work, as Thomas is just ever so set to peek out from quad. This crossfire has to be absolutely perfect, and he doesn't even need it. He goes for the single peek, but Ezio going to make it work with the pistol. Smuya misses the shot. The defuse is going to be toggled, but it's all but a bait and switch. Ezio, he wants to go aggressive. He wants to shut this one down, but Smuya, he might miss the first, but he's not going to miss the second.
So, Lazar gets aggressive towards Squeaky, takes down Cinder. Maybe he was expecting a second player Squeaky. Maybe that's why he was just instantly trying to get out of there. The problem was, Max wasn't holding a main, and Lazar did go down to Brody C. Max have two important frags there, holding off that A attack, but unfortunately for them, the trades did come out, and Lazar's AWP was picked up by none other than Smuya. And Smuya winning the 1 versus 1 there, making it 13 for CeX. And you got to remember, this is Endpoint's map pick. What could happen on overpass? And now it's Endpoint doing what CeX did the last half. Well, they did get the flash. They did have a flash that was slightly better, but CeX, they had the player playing counter flash in a main towards the box, and when you have the player playing counter flash, once the flash comes in, he just uncrouches, stands up, peeks, and takes down both those players.
Parallel play leads to identical results.
Yes, that's a good, very good statement there.
And it is going to be what punishes them in the end. 14-9 is going to be the scoreline, and it's not something we have sort of not really digested too much into, is that it is 14-9. As much as this kind of economical battle has taken place, we saw 3 in a row now for this T-side. And they're dead set to really close this one out unless Endpoint can respond. This is a huge round for them.
It just feels like CeX have the better firepower. I mean, Endpoint, they are getting the picks early, we saw, but they're just giving them away instantaneously. And Smoothie, I mean, he's been losing the AWP battle towards Lazar, but as I say that, he does take down Lazar.
Well, Aaron.
Oh, no, Aaron, sorry, I thought that was Lazar. Actually, Lazar gets his AWP frag in return, so 4 versus 4, both these AWPs finding the picks. So, as I was saying, you would say Lazar's been winning the AWP battle towards Smoothie, but the problem is, Smoothie's been winning the AWP battle overall versus all the other 4 players. Yes, Lazar's been killing Smoothie, but at the same time, Smoothie's been wrecking his team. I mean, what someone used to say as well prior was, yes, Kenny S might not be the best in the AWP versus AWP battle, but he's the best in playing versus the whole team, getting those frags in the whole game, not just a one-on-one AWP battle. Anyway, Amy gets the frag onto Rezu.
Yeah, they are going to be closing down towards mid, and the big kind of almost pinnacle factor for me right now is we talk about this being an incredible round for CeX. They're finding themselves some frags. They have actually managed to get the bomb back, which is very, very surprising that Imi let that one happen. So this completely changes up everything I was going to go into, because now they have themselves the B site. We are back at this point of view where we are kind of looking towards the CT side with no kits.
No Molotovs, no flashes.
They're 3v2.
And an AWP. They need to play the trade game here. They need to push together, push in unison, and play the trade game and make it a 1 versus 2 and then a 1 versus 1. Or not 1 versus 1, but win the 1 versus 2.
It is going to be a tough one, though. They still have to be pretty much pitch point perfect about it. Smooth is going to be looking for that early pick. He's very, very confident in the way he approaches this, but that could be his comeuppance in itself as he waits for it. He goes for the first one tap from Cinder to practically seal the deal. It's a 1v2, and he's going to be trying to make the best of things. But Smooya, with the Tech 9 and CeX, they get themselves their first match point of the night.
I mean, you have no kit, no utility, and you're having to play retake on the B bomb site.
You seem generally confused.
I am, because you should be playing a 2-1-2 setup if you have no kit. I mean, you can't play for the retake. You have to hold the site. Instead, they give it away to CeX, and even if you have the one-man advantage, you saw what happened. These players have to dry peek into Smooya's AWP, and unfortunately for them, Loza will go down, and then obviously Cinder there, that nice one-tap on that player headshot, and they win that 2 versus 3.
Loza looking to go aggressive and find himself that early pick on towards boost, but it is going to crumble, and in fact, walking away on just 9 HP. This is certainly a pretty tough inventory for Endpoint to try and claw back this round, and it is going to be pivotal because if they drop this one, of course, it is all over. So when you look at this and go UMP, just one rifle in play on towards Imi.
It's a desperate buy, isn't it?
It's desperate, but they have their work completely cut out for them, because I'm looking towards this map right now and I'm going, okay, they don't really have necessarily too many solid angles to really play off. They're looking for someone to step up and find the first 2. That would be kind of an ideal world, perfect scenario. From there, perhaps even gain some more firepower, maybe try and play for Smooya's AWP. But there's a whole lot of what-ifs, and it's a whole lot of relying on the fact that CeX give them that opportunity. If we just see CeX play responsive right now and don't allow that to take place and just hold these angles...
I don't think Brody C's watching this.
He needs to be watching this.
He was watching it, but now they've given the call, let's go towards A, play contact off my AWP. That's Smooya's AWP there in A main, and actually this boost from Aaron may catch players off guard.
Thomas gets the information that it's going to be over, goes for the shot through the smoke and will connect it, but Aaron finds 1, finds 2 for his troubles. We talked about this is what they need. They have connected it, but it isn't going to be added firepower. Thomas going to be looking to seal the deal from behind. We're back to a 3v3, but this isn't too terrible. But they're on the B site. You've called GG. Let's see if that will come back to haunt them.
So Rezu, they will plant the bomb towards Checkers and B main. And Max and Imi, they've got quite their work cut out for them. They need to play aggressive here. They need to play fast, and they can't really play the trade game, and that's going to be Cinder taken out. Mighty Max, Imi in the 1 versus 3. No kit. I believe there's a kit CT there, so he could pick it up, but no flash. He's going to have to walk through CT and pray that he can find 3 swift headshots.
Oh, you appear to be the clairvoyant.
Nope.
You've read it like a book. It is over. 16-9 is going to be the scoreline, ladies and gents. We have ourselves our first result of the night. And well, what can we say, Snoz? It's been an interesting one.